She had just been forced to retire from the match, her ankle wrapped in tape, her Cincinnati Open dreams shattered. But what Elena-Gabriela Ruse revealed after the match wasn't anger. It wasn't frustration at the injury. It was something far more unexpected, an admission that has left the tennis world stunned. The stage was set at the Tony Trabert Stadium 3. The air was thick with anticipation. And standing across the net was a ghost from Eala's past, Elena-Gabriela Ruse, the Romanian who had broken her heart in the 2024 US Open qualifiers. That loss had stung. Ruse hacked out a 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 victory, denying the Filipina what would have been her first main draw appearance in a Grand Slam. For Eala, it was a reminder of how close she was and how far she still had to go. But this was a different Eala. The girl who had lost to Ruse 2 years ago, ranked no. 153 while the Romanian stood at number 122. In her place stood the world number 20, a WTA 500 champion, and a player who had just proven she belonged among the elite. Much had changed since their first meeting. Eala had climbed nearly 130 spots in the rankings, while Ruse had fallen to number 74. The match began with a test of nerves. Ruse broke Eala's serve in the opening game, threatening to repeat history, but then something clicked. Eala, who had received a first-round bye as the no. 17 seed, the highest seeding of her career at a WTA 1000 event, showed why she belongs among the elite. She responded with breathtaking aggression. Ripping forehand return winners from 2 feet inside the baseline, Eala won 9 consecutive games. After Ruse dropped a 30-0 lead, including a double fault at 15:30, Eala ripped a forehand winner to earn a break point and level at 1-1. She then held comfortably with ultra-aggressive ball striking to move ahead 2-1. The sweltering humidity sitting at 80% did nothing to slow Eala down. She attacked Ruse's second serve from about 2 feet inside the baseline, ripping forehand return winners to break for 3-1. She continued to pull away to 4-1, then 5-1, hitting with confidence, precision, and rhythm. Eala closed out the first set 6-1, winning 5 consecutive games. The second set followed the same pattern as Eala jumped to a 3-0 lead. The Filipina, who had been on a tear throughout the North American hard-court swing, had improved her record to 8-1 on the surface. Then came the interruption. With Eala serving in the 4th game, the umpire called for a pause in the play due to a lightning suspension. Ruse, who had called for a medical timeout before the suspension due to an apparent right foot injury, withdrew before play could resume. The 6-1 3-0 retirement victory was anticlimactic, but the message was clear. Eala had avenged her 2024 US Open qualifying loss, improved her record to 8-1 on the North American hard-court swing, and now owned 8 consecutive revenge victories against opponents who had previously beaten her. I think that I was playing well. I think I felt the ball good, was really focused, and tried to keep myself in the zone. I think I did a good job of that, Eala said after the match. Of course, nobody likes to finish a match with a retirement. First and foremost, I just want to wish Gabriela Ruse a speedy recovery. Injuries aren't fun, so I hope she recovers soon. The redemption was complete. But what Ruse revealed after the match would leave the tennis world stunned. The match had ended in the most unsatisfying way possible. A retirement, a walkover, an anticlimax that robbed the crowd of a definitive conclusion. But what Elena-Gabriela Ruse revealed after the match wasn't anger. It wasn't frustration at the injury. It was something far more unexpected. An admission that has left the tennis world stunned. The injury was real. Ruse had called for a medical timeout before the suspension, visibly struggling with her movement. The Romanian received treatment and had her foot retaped before play resumed. But when the lightning delay struck and the players were cleared to return, Ruse informed officials she could no longer continue. The right ankle, the one that had been troubling her, simply wouldn't hold up. But that's not what shocked everyone. What Ruse said after the match revealed something far deeper. Speaking to Romanian media, the 28-year-old veteran didn't lament the injury that had ended her tournament. She didn't blame the weather or the circumstances. Instead, she made an admission that spoke volumes about how far Eala has come. She called Eala one of the new stars of the WTA circuit. Coming from an opponent who had just been dismantled on the court, those words carried immense weight. Ruse, a player who had beaten top 10 opponents and reached the semifinals of WTA 500 events, knew exactly what she was talking about. And she was acknowledging that the Filipina sensation had arrived. The respect was genuine. Ruse had been the one who denied Eala a US Open main draw spot in 2024, rallying from a set down to win 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 in the final round of qualifying. That loss had been devastating for Eala. It was the third time that year she had fallen in the final qualifying round of a Grand Slam. But now, roles had dramatically reversed. Eala had climbed to world number 20, while Ruse had fallen to number 74. It's hardly the revenge Eala might have scripted, one analysis noted. The match ended prematurely, robbing Eala of the satisfaction of delivering the decisive blow herself. But the scoreboard was already making its own argument. Eala had won 9 consecutive games, winning 71% of points on Ruse's first serve and 78% on her second. She had fired 9 winners and forced Ruse into 11 errors in the first set alone. The admission from Ruse was a recognition of that transformation. She wasn't just acknowledging a defeat. She was acknowledging a changing of the guard. The player who had once denied Eala a Grand Slam debut was now calling her a star. And the tennis world was listening. The retirement was anticlimactic. The victory was hollow. But what Alex Eala did next revealed something far more important than a scoreline. When the cameras found her after the match, the 21-year-old Filipina didn't celebrate. She didn't pump her fist. She didn't talk about revenge or redemption. Instead, she did something that has come to define her rise. She put her opponent first. Like you said, I think it's unfortunate that we weren't able to continue the match, and first and foremost, just wish Gabby a speedy recovery. Eala told the Tennis Channel after the match. Health is, I think, #1 priority for everybody, so hope she gets better soon. The words were simple, but they spoke volumes. Eala had every reason to feel satisfaction. 2 years ago, Ruse had denied her a US Open main draw spot in the final round of qualifying. The third time that year she had fallen in the final qualifying round of a Grand Slam. That loss had stung. It had been a turning point, a moment that could have broken a lesser player. But instead of bitterness, Eala offered grace. Instead of gloating, she offered empathy. Of course, nobody likes to finish a match with a retirement, she said in her post-match press conference. First and foremost, I just want to wish Gabriela Ruse a speedy recovery. Injuries aren't fun, so I hope she recovers soon. The respect was genuine, and it was a testament to the character that has made Eala not just a champion, but a role model. Former world no. Greg Rusedski had predicted as much. She competes, she fights, she's so mentally tough that it doesn't matter who's in her way, Rusedski had said. You've got to play great tennis to beat her. And I see her only going one direction, and that's up. But what Rusedski didn't mention was the grace with which Eala carries herself. She doesn't just win. She wins with class. The contrast with Ruse's original victory in 2024 was stark. That day, Ruse had celebrated a hard-fought victory. Eala had walked off the court with tears in her eyes. 2 years later, roles had reversed. But Eala's reaction was not one of vengeance. It was one of compassion. I think that I was playing well. I think I felt the ball good, was really focused and tried to keep myself in the zone, Eala said, assessing her own performance. I think I did a good job of that. The respect that transcends rivalry was on full display. And as Eala prepared for her next challenge, a showdown with world no. 10 Amanda Anisimova. She carried with her the same humility that had defined her rise from the beginning. The tennis world had been waiting for this moment. 2 years of anticipation. 2 years of growth. 2 years of the Filipina sensation, climbing the rankings, winning titles, and proving that the loss that once broke her heart was just a chapter in a much larger story. But when Alex Eala and Elena-Gabriela Ruse stepped onto Court 3 at the Tony Trabert Stadium, the rematch was over before it could truly begin. The revenge was delivered. The dominance was complete. But the definitive conclusion never came. The first chapter of this rivalry had been written in Flushing Meadows. It was August 2024. The US Open qualifiers. The final round. Eala was just 19 years old, ranked number 153 in the world, and standing on the precipice of history. No Filipina had ever qualified for the singles main draw of a Grand Slam tournament. She had already won her first 2 qualifying matches, and now one more victory would secure her place in the sport's most iconic major. Standing across the net was Elena-Gabriela Ruse, a 27-year-old Romanian ranked number 122, a semi-finalist at the French Open, and a veteran who had competed in the main draws of all 4 Grand Slams. The match began perfectly for Eala. She dominated the first set, winning 6-3 as Ruse committed 15 unforced errors and 4 double faults. The Filipino community at Flushing Meadows erupted. The dream was alive. But then everything changed. Ruse adjusted. The Romanian's experience began to show. She blasted through the second set with 15 winners, winning 6-1. Eala, who had been fighting through fatigue, called a medical timeout as the momentum slipped away. The third set was a battle. They traded games, locked at 3-3. But then Ruse broke Eala's serve in the 7th game, held for 5-3, and closed out the match 6-4. After 2 hours and 8 minutes of tennis, it was over. That loss had stung more than any other. It was the 3rd time that year Eala had fallen in the final qualifying round of a Grand Slam. After the French Open and Wimbledon, she had been denied a main draw spot in the most agonizing way possible. Each defeat had been a lesson. Each defeat had been fuel. But the loss to Ruse was different. It wasn't just about missing a tournament. It was about a dream that had been within reach, and then snatched away by an opponent who refused to let go. The Eala who walked onto Court 3 in Cincinnati was unrecognizable from the teenager who had walked off Court 7 at Flushing Meadows. She had climbed to World No. 20, a rise of 133 spots in just 2 years. She had won her first WTA title, defeating the world number 3 in the final. She had reached the 4th round of Wimbledon. She had proven that the heartbreak of 2024 was not the end of her story. It was the beginning. The revenge tour had already claimed 7 victims. Renata Zarazua, Maya Joint, Iga Swiatek, Zheng Xinwen, Leila Fernandez, Jessica Pegula, and Alicia Parks had all fallen to Eala in rematches. Now, Ruse was next. The match began with a test of nerves. Ruse broke Eala's serve in the opening game, threatening to repeat history. But then something clicked. The Filipina, who had received a first-round bye as the 17th seed, the highest seeding of her career at a WTA 1000 event, showed why she belongs among the elite. She responded with breathtaking aggression. Ripping forehand return winners from 2 feet inside the baseline, Eala won 9 consecutive games. The sweltering humidity, sitting at 80%, did nothing to slow her down. She attacked Ruse's second serve from about 2 feet inside the baseline, ripping forehand return winners to break for 3-1. She continued to pull away to 4-1, then 5-1, hitting with confidence, precision, and rhythm. Eala closed out the first set 6-1, winning 5 consecutive games. The second set followed the same pattern as Eala jumped to a 3-0 lead. Then came the interruption. With Eala serving in the 4th game, the match was suspended due to lightning in the area. Ruse, who had asked for a medical break and had her right foot taped up just before the suspension, withdrew before play could resume. The 6-1 3-0 retirement victory was anticlimactic, but the message was clear. Eala had avenged her 2024 US Open qualifying loss. She had improved her record to 8-1 on the North American hardcourt swing, and she now owned 8 consecutive revenge victories against opponents who had previously beaten her. I think that I was playing well. I think I felt the ball good, was really focused, and tried to keep myself in the zone. I think I did a good job of that, Eala said after the match. She added, "Of course, nobody likes to finish a match with a retirement. First and foremost, I just want to wish Gabriela Ruse a speedy recovery. Injuries aren't fun, so I hope she recovers soon." The rematch that wasn't had still delivered a measure of closure. The revenge was complete, and now, a much bigger challenge awaited. The retirement was anticlimactic, the victory was hollow, but the implications of Alex Eala's walkover win extend far beyond the scoreline. The ranking implications with her victory over Elena-Gabriela Ruse, Eala has climbed to a career-high world number 18 in the live WTA Tour rankings. She has moved past Ekaterina Alexandrova and Jasmine Paolini, and is now only 18 ranking points behind Sorana Cîrstea in 17th place. The Cincinnati Open is adding to her ranking total because she did not play the event last year. Every win here is pure profit. The victory improved Eala's record to 8-1 on the North American hard court swing. She has now won 8 of her last 9 matches, a run that includes her breakthrough WTA title in Washington and a round of 16 appearance in Toronto. The next challenge standing between Eala and a spot in the round of 16 is world number 10, Amanda Anisimova, the 9th seed, a 2-time Grand Slam finalist who reached a career-high no. 3 earlier this year, presents the biggest test of Eala's Cincinnati campaign. Anisimova has been watching Eala's rise with keen interest. I haven't played her before. She's been having such an incredible season, incredible year, and very great player with a lot of fans, so I'm really looking forward to that, the American said. I know that it's probably going to be a very packed stadium. I'm sure it will be really fun, she added, acknowledging the phenomenon that has followed Eala across North America. The American also addressed the inevitable crowd dynamic. I love a packed stadium and I love a good atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be a great match, even though they're probably going to be rooting for her, more for her end. But I don't mind. I'll try to thrive off of the energy. A victory of substance before the tournament, Eala defined what would make her Cincinnati campaign a success. It's the matches of substance, she had said. Did I execute what I wanted to execute? Did I bring the level that I wanted to bring? Against Ruse, she answered both questions emphatically. The level was there, the execution was sharp. And now, she has a chance to prove it against the world's best. A victory over Anisimova would give Eala her 10th career win against a top 10 opponent, with 7 of those coming in 2026 alone. It would set up a potential quarterfinal with the winner of Linda Noskova and Clara Tauson. And beyond that, the draw offers no respite. Momentum is a thing, I guess, but it's not concrete and it doesn't give you any 100% answers, Eala had said before the tournament. A lot of matches can help with your confidence, but it doesn't guarantee anything. She's right. But the momentum she's built over this North American hardcourt swing has made one thing clear. Alex Eala is no longer just a rising star. She is a legitimate contender for the biggest titles in tennis. What happens when a young woman from Manila, fresh off avenging a 2-year-old defeat, steps onto the court against a top 10 opponent with a spot in the round of 16 on the line? What happens when the WTA realizes that Alex Eala isn't just a rising star, she's a force of nature? And when Alex Eala faces Amanda Anisimova in Cincinnati, will she prove that the revenge tour is just the beginning of something far bigger? Elena-Gabriela Ruse dropped a bombshell after her Cincinnati Open retirement, acknowledging Alex Eala as one of the new stars of the WTA circuit. The match ended with Ruse unable to continue at 6-1, 3-0, but the respect she showed her opponent spoke volumes. Eala has climbed to world number 18 in the live rankings and now faces world number 10 Amanda Anisimova for a spot in the round of 16. The Eala Express keeps rolling. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.